Molweni, Sanibonani, Dumelang, and welcome to Property Market Moves. In this platform, we hold conversations to empower you, to inform and to educate you, to keep you company along your property journey. If you are a student that is studying towards a property career, you've just started out in property, or you're in business in property, this is the platform for you. In today's episode, we are having a conversation with Patricia Tshitema. How are you?
I am very well. Thanks for asking. And how are you?
I am well. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, you've just won, was it 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
A week, just literally under 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Leading Women Award for the South African Institute of Black Property Practitioners. Mm-hmm. And yeah, let's pause. We'll get back to that so that people understand who we are sitting and conversing with today. So before we get there, who is Patricia?
Wow. Patricia, just a girl who grew up in Venda, Limpopo province, from a typical South African village.
Okay.
You understand what that means?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's dusty. There's,
poverty is there. And we grew up in that time where there was really obvious poverty. Found myself for 2 years in a school, a classroom under a tree.
Ooh, my
I've
goodness.
experienced that. Yeah.
A classroom under a tree.
Yes, my grade 4 and grade 5. I think then it was standard, 2 and 3, something like that.
Oh, Patricia, it's a shame that we're still experiencing those
even today. Yes.
But yeah. And from that?
From that, went to high school. I did my matric. And I then went on to study a degree in horticulture. That's the study of plants and your floriculture. So like a botanist. And I worked for many years in that career, and I upgraded it to a master's in environmental management. So I'm an environmental scientist by profession.
Wow.
And that's what I know. For 20 years, practicing faithfully, so doing very well, excelling in it, loving it so much. And one day I woke up and realized my journey in that profession is done. And it's something completely different.
Sure. Okay. And how do you then find property?
Okay. Now, around 35 years, I started buying like your townhouses. So actually, when I was younger, my first house was a townhouse which I disposed of in 3 years, and it made money.
Okay.
Like, oh, this is interesting. And then I went on and bought another one. So I'm still below 30. I'm now owning a second townhouse. And I got married at 29 and I disposed of it just before my wedding. And I got some money. I'm like, this thing. So I didn't even go into credit. I'm like, these things looked, I think this is good. I think I can make some money. So I always had that idea.
Okay.
And by the time I got to 35 and I'm starting to feel that the career in which I flourished, I enjoyed, for me now it's monotonous. I'm doing the same thing. I know what to do every day. My excellence there is guaranteed. And I get bored easily. I knew I need to move away. And the closest thing was remembering the times I made quick cash from property. And that's where I started leaning my attention and my interest to, and I started researching more. I started studying through the Cape Town University. They've got lots of short courses.
Yeah.
Just to getting to understand what property investment is and how I can implement the different strategies that I was starting to learn. So basically the interest came earlier, but I didn't think it was going to be a business for me. And one day I'll even have an award like this because of the excellence that people are noticing out there in the property investment space.
So it was what many do. You buy a property as your primary residence, and then you disposed of it. And instead of enjoying that little money and moving forward, forgetting about it, you actually paid attention and you realized there's something in this.
Yes.
And now you turn that into a business. Wow.
Exactly.
So what does that look like right now, the business?
No, the business expanded so fast. So I then moved out of the corporate and focused on the business. So the business was established in 2018.
Okay.
I was still working because I wanted to establish. And then 2 years later, I left the corporate and I focused on the business. When I started focusing full time, it was around 2020, 2021.
Okay.
And started collaborating with people who are already in the property investment space, who are successful in it, and getting mentors, just to make sure that I understand what this is about and what are the different investment strategies. I think I found myself with the right people. You know, when they say preparation meets opportunity, I think I prepared not knowing what I was going to meet. And I found myself mixing with the right people who are already successful in the space. And they showed me the secrets to investing on a bigger scale and told me, with your passion, the small things you are doing are not for you. You think you are one person who can do well if you now start looking at bigger scale. Remember, I was not thinking about that yet. And when they said that, I decided to take a chance on it. And the business then multiplied. We've got a portfolio of about 650 student beds today.
Wow.
Yeah. From that.
Yeah. So the business was birthed in 2018.
Yes.
Whilst you were transitioning from corporate, and then you started then working it full time around 2020, 2021, around the COVID season.
Around the COVID season. So when we did our first big development, that development was for a 55 million, 94 two-bed apartments. It was during COVID. So our finances were approved January, February of 2020. And in March, we were expected to break ground. And then it was lockdown. And in June, we went back because by then there were some movements.
Yeah.
We went back to site and we started in the middle of COVID. And everything was expensive then. Material was expensive, labor was expensive. There was no free access to things, but we started anyway. And you will go to site, you have to practice all those COVID protocols. We did it anyway. And we had the best contracting team. They were so ready for such a project. They had prepared themselves before COVID.
Yeah.
They had already secured material everywhere. So it was easy for them to just make a phone call and the delivery will come. But, you know, for me, it wasn't scary because we didn't have much interference from people, from public, from whatever. There wasn't a friend who will come and sit around.
It's quiet.
It's quiet. We're just working. And because of that, a project that was scheduled for 18 months was completed in 10 months.
Wow.
So we had actually broke ground in February before COVID, and we had to stop because of COVID. And we started again around May, June. And in December 2020, the project was launched. 10 months.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm a woman. I don't have experience, knowledge, and skills. I am learning as we go. I'm asking questions as we go. But all the men, I'm the only woman. With all these giants in all the field, all the engineers. I had a very powerful engineering team or professional team. They were so welcoming. I think they were interested in teaching a woman the space in which they are used to seeing only men. So they were so welcoming. They were teaching me. I'm monitoring these things without the knowledge. But they would teach me what to look for. What are the right things to be considerate of? How to work with all these multidisciplinary teams. And I'm listening and I'm writing and I'm learning. And as time went, I'll speak as if I'm one of them. So for me, learning every day was the key. And having that team of so many men welcoming, take that opportunity. When you get there as a woman, just take it. You must know that they want to empower you. They want you to know what they know, and they want you to excel. And that's how I looked at it. And 10 months later, a 94 two-bed apartments in the middle of COVID was launched. And the following year, our founder GPF, who expected students to come in 2022, they got student a year earlier.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
That is such a beautiful story. So from the time then that you started, now you're getting into student accommodation, There's the process, of getting approvals. There's the process of getting finance, and you are breaking ground in a space you don't have the technical know-how. You don't have that much experience. What are some of the challenges that you met up with?
Yeah. So the first thing, I didn't have the money, even though I come from corporate. I didn't have 6 million sitting somewhere waiting for me to go and procure land. So the first thing was I didn't have land, but I had identified a potential land. Now, there isn't anyone who wants to trust me with their funds because I have no knowledge, skills, and experience. And after that, I needed to develop a bankable business plan. Remember, some of the people I was now hanging around said, you can do a large-scale development.
Yeah.
And we think student accommodation is suitable for you because of the passion you have for young people. So they've said all of that, but I don't have the skills. No one can trust me. Even that bankable business plan, I cannot have it because I don't have the experience. So now I'm having challenge with lack of experience that is required by potential funders, by potential equity investors, by potential angel investors. I don't have any of what they are looking for. And I had to relook at how I want to do things. That is where the collaboration issue came in.
Okay.
And I started suggesting with I work with my husband in the business.
Okay.
So we have partnered, we're working together. So we decided maybe what we need right now is collaboration. As we're growing, we can start re-looking at that. But right now, for us to launch, we need collaboration. We already have people in the field. We already know, or we have been introduced to potential funders for capital raising. We already know different professionals who have the skills and the knowledge and the experience. Why not propose then to all these people to see what comes out of that? And we also enrolled ourselves in a mentorship program.
Okay.
And our mentors then linked us to every other professional that they believe can assist us to be successful in the space. And a collaboration came in from that. From the collaboration, that's where you start getting all the skills and the expertise coming together to one CV or one business plan. All the people with different amount of money that they want to invest. Because you have people with money, but they don't want to be engaged in day-to-day management of that money growing. They want to invest and go away. So we are already coming across these people. So the mentor is now ensuring that these people are bringing in those resources. And as they bring the money, our equity is being formed. It's collaboration. Now we've got skills that came together. We now have money that is coming together to raise the 6 million. I'm a woman and I'm the only woman. And what funders are looking for is a woman. They don't care how many women. If you've got a woman, funders are happy. And all these people, they know we've got a woman who's so passionate, who was successful in the corporate world. There's nothing for us to worry. We can trust her. And we built this business plan that was bankable, that was attractive to the funders. The process is long, unfortunately. It takes very long, but the funders were willing to sit and listen. And I will go and speak about this business plan like I'm an architect or a QS.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So the mentor and the people that said you could do it, they showed that they believed in you.
Yes.
But I think what's important is that you also believed in yourself.
I believed in myself very, very much. I wasn't afraid to start from the bottom. I was already high up there in the corporate world. I was doing well. I had everything. But for me, that was not all. I needed to start over. And for me, I wasn't scared of that. I believed in myself that if I start again from the bottom, I will rise again. My fear was where to get the knowledge to assist me in my property investment journey, not the starting from the bottom. We all must start somewhere. It's how we then build it up until we get to the top. So I knew I will get to the top.
Wow.
I just needed to get the information.
So in this journey, what was your biggest lesson?
Wow. Patience. So property investment takes long. You don't make money now. You don't become rich now. If what you want is to get rich today, property investment is not for you. I learned to be patient. It took us 2 years to secure funding and to raise equity So when you see our portfolio today, you think, oh, they were so lucky they got it. No. There was a 2 years journey of pain, a 2 years journey where sometimes I'll wake up and think I chose the wrong thing and thinking of quitting. But I'll remind myself again why I started in the first place. And having to go, we went to so many seminars where we were presenting our business plan and our investment plan to potential investors. Most of the majority are not willing because I don't have the experience. We went to so many funders. Funders are not so generous.
They have got a list of things that they want.
Yes.
You know, they want you to come ready. Yeah. And here you are, you're starting out.
I'm starting out. So patience for me. And also investing in self. I learned that I needed to invest in self when it comes to knowledge. I need to understand what this property investment is. What are the different investment strategies and what is it, or which strategy do I think is more suitable for me? So I needed to take that time and invest in myself. That is why I enrolled with Cape Town University. That is why I went to back to UNISA and to UJ and study all these little things. That is why I enrolled myself to a mentorship program that was very expensive, but I knew I needed it if I want to be successful in the space. So there's a lot of hard work that came in and a lot of rejection. We were many who entered that mentorship program.
Yeah.
And just the 2 us came out. The rest, some of them followed later. Most of them fell off completely. So it's not an easy journey. So I can't sit here today and talk with so much passion and you think the journey was so smooth. It's out of excitement and gratitude for what God has done in the process for me to sit here today and for you as SAIBPP to recognize me as leading woman. A lot of hard work and pain and rejection.
My goodness. What advice would you give to someone who is thinking of starting out in this space?
If you want to start out in property space, just know that you're not going to be rich today. This is about generational wealth. It's not for today. So if you decide property is what you're going to follow, it's a long-term investment space. Probably your children and your grandchildren are the ones who are going to enjoy the riches, not yourself. So you must go into that space fully aware and cognizant of that. And you must also take time to learn property investment, to learn, take courses, be mentored, network, be around people who are already there. You can't do it on your own. And if you're thinking large scale, you can never do it on your own. Even funders will not trust you to that level. You need collaborations. Maybe you use those collaborations to kickstart, but for you to kickstart, you need collaborations. And when you collaborate, make sure you've got your legal team there to guide you through the process and to protect you, because you'll find yourself selling everything else that you worked for, thinking you're collaborating.
You know, there's this fear that we have that when you invite, I don't know if it's a lack of trust or fear or both. When you invite others to your opportunity, now you're saying that you had identified the piece of land, but you didn't have the money to buy the land. And you're thinking, okay, I'm going to invite Kululwa to come on board, right? There's that fear or lack of trust that she's just going to run with it and kick me out of the deal. How did you navigate that? Did you never think of that?
I did. But you really need to grow out of that if you want to be an investor. Not just in property. If you want large-scale investment, you really have to grow out of that and believe that people are coming in with the same purpose and the same vision. That is why earlier I spoke about your legal team. Use your legal team to do those protections. Don't worry about things that you are not clued up in, things that you are not qualified in. We allowed the professional team to worry about that. What we needed is to make sure that we are there all the time to understand what the project is about and how the project is going. So people want to sit at home drinking coffee while somebody's managing everything for them. Yeah, somebody will then run away. So we didn't do that. As a woman who, even in the beauty industry,
Yeah.
I'm in my overalls and my boots, and I'm in the field all the time because I want to know every single thing about my project. If there are some shortfalls, I want to know them immediately. They shouldn't come to me 4 months later when they cannot rescue the situation. So if you are collaborating, it is a scary process. Just get the right people. Your legal team will be there, and make sure you don't send people to do things for you. You do them
Be
yourself.
prepared to get your hands dirty.
Prepared to get your hands dirty.
Sure. That is true skin in the game. I mean, we talk about the equity, actually but the real skin in the game is actually being in there, doing the work, making sure that you know, and learning what you don't know about the space that you are in.
You could ask me even in my deep sleep about the project in that 10 months. I'll tell you everything about the project. What I laughed at my husband, because you could ask him how many bricks that day they built. He will tell you how many bricks they built. If you call him now, he will tell you for that project to finish how many thousands of bricks we used. We knew up to those details.
Wow.
But that was a preparation for us to what was to come. And the success then of that collaboration and us putting the skin in the game by being there and learning led to folding of new other projects and expansion of the portfolio. Yeah.
If that's not definition of excellence, I don't know what is. So winning then the award, what did that mean for you?
It was like confirmation of the hard work since 2018. That we see you. We see all the hard work. We see all the passion. And for me, I don't just do it for myself. I do it for the young people of South Africa. I've got a youth empowerment platform that is very active, and I lead it myself. And I'm like, so people see all these things. I thought this is just me doing it in the property space and also bringing young people to excel in the space and anything else that they want. But people are actually looking, and I felt like, I don't know, I just felt this sense of, you have done well for South Africa. You have done well for the woman. Like, this is for the women of South Africa. I felt like that recognition said, women, stand up and do it because it is possible.
Yeah.
I received so many calls from so many women saying, it's possible. In my space with what I'm doing, I'm going to do it with all my might or power. I'm going to invest my knowledge, skills, and experience in it because you have just reminded us that everything is possible. So for me, I say it's for the women, by women. I am grateful.
And I am certain that there's many more, coming, because with that kind of passion, with, that kind of investment in self, and really just commitment to all of it, right? Dirty overalls, literally all of it. It really is just an indication that there is millions more, coming.
Yes, I certainly believe that. I certainly believe that when they are talking to me, every space I've been, I've not had my own time since that award because all women just want to talk to me, and right there, I got confirmation that many women are coming. It might not necessarily be in the property space, but we're going to hear many women who will refer back to that award and say, that night, everything in me changed. Because that's what I'm getting where everywhere I'm going since the award. And there's no better satisfaction than that. You just know you didn't do it for you, but for all women.
Beautiful.
I'm satisfied.
In a male-dominated industry, still predominantly white.
Yes.
So you are female in a male-dominated space, predominantly white space, you are black. You are starting out afresh, right? You're rebranding yourself from a different career and you're starting a new career. You don't have the qualifications that, because people will be saying, what qualifies you? Show us your certificates. What property courses or certificates do you have? You don't have that. Your certificates are speaking to a different career. you don't have the money to buy this piece of land, and yet you build a project in almost half the time that it would have taken during COVID.
Yeah. And you can't believe that in the professional team, there were a few giants in the field, like the civil engineer and the structural engineer. Very well-known gentleman. He's white. And he's excellent. The architect also. And so people say I've got so much passion that whatever I do it with all my heart.
Yeah.
And I think my passion, even as I speak to you, it does come out to a certain extent. Because of that, people tend to get attracted to my story. So those people, as I'm talking to them, they felt we can actually invest our knowledge and time on this woman. They forgot about the lack of experience and skills and the not having the money and everything else. But the person who is presenting herself to them, wanting to learn, wanting to make this thing a success, showing so much passion, that's the person they invested in. Not the knowledge, the experience, the money, and all those things.
Before we close, let's go back to that studying under the tree. Because this is the story of so many, right? Yeah. Black South African kids who study in overpopulated classrooms, and for those even less fortunate, under a tree. And here you are. What does that mean for you? And what would you say to that child who is learning under the tree about the future that they probably can't even imagine at this point in their life?
I'm like, to that child, that is just your classroom for that moment. It's got nothing to do with who you are going to become. It's only the available classroom for you in that moment to learn what is available for you. The future is bright. So last year I was crowned Mrs. Universe South Africa. And after the crowning, I decided to go home to that same primary school. And I went, it is still a poor school. Now it has classrooms. And all these kids, they were all in class. They were informed this person will come. They were saying to the principal, it's not possible. And then I arrived. They did not wait for their teachers to release them. They ran the whole school. It was noise everywhere. And when I looked at their eyes, I saw kids who are saying, so this person came from this same school? So we can be like this? That's all I was seeing. They were screaming. I was taking photos with all of them. And I remember standing in front of them saying, it's not the classroom you're in, not the village you're growing up. It's what you will become in future when you make a decision to become that person. I came from the same school as you. And I decided along the way, I am greater and bigger than that school, that classroom under the tree, the village I grew up, the village where success meant being a teacher, a nurse, and a police. I said, I will not be anything like that. My own mom is a nurse. I will not be anything like that. Under that same tree. Today, she keeps saying to me, I don't know where you got all of that from. Because I told her at 45, I have to retire and go and spend time where it's winter, when it's summer, when it's winter. And she said, I grew up saying these things. But I'm saying to her, because I believed that classroom and everything else I know had nothing to do with whom I'm becoming.
Yeah.
That was just my journey. Just like that child in that classroom. That is just the classroom available for them now. So that they can learn now. Their beautiful future awaits. And that's what we focus on.
Man. That's it. That's it. And to that child who is struggling in classrooms, at tertiary, whether in high school, they really don't know what the future looks like. Starting out in property, and it seems so insurmountable.
Yes.
That is it right there.
Yeah.
That is just part of your journey.
It's part of the journey. That's the journey we need to get to where we are today.
Okay. So as we close, we've got a question. Now, this question came from the guests that we hosted at the last segment that we had. When you leave, you're going to leave a question for the next guest.
Oh.
So the question is, what strategies do you recommend for property professionals to mitigate potential risks and capitalize on emerging opportunities? Now, it says during this period of political uncertainty, and perhaps you can link it to political uncertainty, or really just what strategies do you recommend for property professionals to mitigate potential risks and capitalize on emerging opportunities?
So this morning, before I came here, we were talking with my husband about political uncertainty and student accommodation. So this question just is basically what we were talking about this morning. And we were saying, with this political uncertainty, the decision to subsidize higher education for the poor and the working class, it was in 2016 by the then president. It was also politically motivated. It's a beautiful decision. We are getting a lot of young people going to university. However, because it was also politically aligned decision, it's a decision that can be reversed at any stage. And political uncertainties brings that to mind. What if this decision is halted or is reversed or it's implemented differently? What does that do to student accommodation? And we were saying with my husband, this is time that property investors, and especially in student accommodation, to start thinking about other investment platforms that they can use to mitigate on this risk and also to augment what we already have. In our case, we even do beds and supply our own accommodation and other accommodation because we realized political uncertainty might affect the business that we currently hold as our major business. So you need to start looking at other investment strategies that can fit into your main. And if you don't do that, I am afraid that things might be very tough anytime or in the near future.
Yeah.
So we need to start thinking of bringing in multiple businesses that can, even if they don't support each other, start thinking about those strategies. Don't just focus on one. For me, I'm going to be expanding more. We've got 2 more expansions that are coming because we acknowledge the political environment we're in and what that means for student accommodation provision in South Africa. Yeah, so that's the advice.
All right, there we have it. That certainly was a mouthful. I enjoyed this conversation, and I trust that you did as well. Even better, I trust that you were inspired, that you were motivated, that you were educated, that you were empowered, and that in some way it contributes towards being your friend, towards being your companion, towards giving you some guidance in terms of what the next steps, or really what foundation or what posture you need to have as you start out in your property career or any business for that matter, because some of the principles that we spoke about apply across various business platforms. Thank you for joining us. Now, please share when you come across our link, like, follow, subscribe, and share with your community. Let us build South Africa together. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you.